Hi everyone, welcome to the Strawberryloli channel. This is your friendly neighborhood Slytherin and general savagery practitioner, Ren. I am so happy and thankful to finally be on break for the winter holidays. I cannot even tell you. Yeah, I don't have to go back into work until January 12th, so this is just gonna be a really good chunk of time for me to get everything together, get my apartment organized finally. I've had some problems with my cell phone not being able to connect to the internet when I'm outside, even though I have like the fancy 5G plan or whatever. So yeah, all of the stuff that has fallen by the wayside because I've just been so swamped with work for these past few months, I can finally take care of them. Really happy about that. I hope that you guys are having a great holiday season as well. I know that this situation is probably very, very different from what we all imagined our holiday season to be like in 2020, but you know, things happen in the world and here we are. We just have to roll with the punches and evolve.
Oh, what's the matter, Charmander?
It's evolving!
Charmeleon, the flame Pokemon.
But that being said, I really do hope that you all are able to have a nice little holiday in your own way or your own style, whatever that might be. Whatever holiday you celebrate, whether it's Christmas or Hanukkah. But anyway, today I thought I would just keep it simple and sit down and play with some new neutral brownish makeup from the Japanese drugstore. I will be using mainly these three items that I picked up with my credit card points. Yay for credit card rewards, am I right? So I have a new eyeshadow quad from Cezanne. This is called the Nuance On Eyeshadow in number 03 Bronze Red. And then I have a new little compact blush from Chifure. This is their powder cheek line in number 571 Red Pearl or Reddish Pearl. I don't think I've ever used Chifure products on my channel before, but this is one of the truly OG budget Japanese drugstore makeup brands. I'm gonna be honest, their packaging has always been a little bit too cheap and simplistic looking for me, which is why I don't often find myself drawn to their new releases. But if you're looking for a solid performing, just no frills Japanese drugstore makeup brand that will give you, you know, that nice natural classic Japanese makeup look, Chifure is definitely a solid brand in that respect. And then finally, I actually didn't even know that this was out in Japan. I think it was released in the States a while ago, but this is from the new Wonder Woman and Revlon collaboration. I think it's Wonder Woman 1984 or something. You know, the new installment. I think there was like delays because of COVID, but they were able to release it recently, I guess. Is it in theaters now or is it coming out soon? I'm sorry, I don't really know anything about the Wonder Woman franchise at all, except for the fact that it stars Gal Gadot, obviously. But yeah, so apparently they did a collection with Revlon, and I picked up one of their super lustrous lipsticks. I think this is a matte formula, and it's in the shade Amazon. I saw the Wonder Woman eyeshadow palette in stores as well, and I was able to swatch it. Not impressed with that one, I gotta say. It just feels like that very cheap, non-substantial, glittery formula that is characteristic of a lot of those multicolored dollar store eyeshadow palette. I mean, the colors are pretty and everything, and I'm sure that you could turn out a nice look with it. Personally, I didn't see anything special about the formula when I was swatching it, so I opted out of buying that. But anyway, I think that I should just get started with applications. So these first two products in particular, I think you budgetnistas out there, budgetnista, that's kind of hard to say. But I think that the true budgetnistas out there might really appreciate these because Cezanne and Chifure are both really, really affordable brands. We're talking about pretty much every single item from these brands you can get at under the 1,000 yen mark. So that's really great. Can Make would also be considered to be priced on the lower end of Japanese drugstore makeup brands in general, but Can Make's prices are still a little bit more inflated than these two brands in particular. I think it's just because of their brand appeal and the packaging and everything. Cezanne and Chifure and the like are much more, you know, no frills. It's really aimed at adults that just want no muss, no fuss with their makeup, or they want to fly under the radar, something like that. Alright, so let's take a look at the nuance on eyeshadow. You guys know I love me a classic square 4-pan layout. This is in the color variation Bronze Red 03. Believe it or not, this palette has like the most contrast and the deepest color story overall, so that's why I chose it. You know, I like me some drama and flair in my eye looks. Wow, so that is pretty sheer. So I'm not feeling this shade already right away. It's very flaky and powdery. These three seem like they're gonna be okay. We'll see how they perform on top of a proper eyeshadow base. I am going to prime with the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eye Primer. Okay, wow, that's very bright with the ring light and everything, but I have a philosophy with eyeshadow primer that it's always better to apply a little bit more than you need as opposed to not having enough. So let's go in with shade B all over the lid. On the back, they label the shades as A, B, C, D. The A shade is supposed to be a topper shade, so I'm gonna use B for my all over lid color. I'm so excited to actually be putting powder on my lids again. I know that sounds weird, but I've been using my Fujiko Shake Shadows, the liquid eyeshadows, for my work makeup, like pretty much every single day, aside from weekends. So it's nice to finally be able to sit down and craft a traditional powder eyeshadow look. This definitely feels like a very beginner-friendly formula. So there's quite a lot of kick up in the pan there, you see. Fortunately, it doesn't seem like that's transferring to the eyelids, which is a good thing. It kind of just blends itself out, actually. Like, I'm barely doing any work here with the brush, so that's excellent. Okay, I actually really like this so far, which I'm very happy about because I was a little bit nervous. Some people have been saying that it's too natural or too sheer. I will say that it is a little bit dry looking. I was hoping for a little bit more of a glossy finish, which is kind of what Japanese drugstore brands are really well known for. I feel like they've really mastered the glossy powder formula in Japan, not only with eyeshadows but with other powder products as well, such as blush and whatnot. But to be fair, that doesn't seem like what the selling point of this eyeshadow palette is anyway. It is called nuance eyeshadow after all, so clearly the goal here is to be very, very like barely there, barely noticeable, natural looking eye makeup. Okay, so I'm just going to finish up with the last shade here, D. It's like a brick red color. I'm not expecting this to show up super dark or anything, but you know, hopefully it's provides enough definition to pull this entire look together. Okay, so I don't know if you can see, I did end up getting a little bit of fallout with that brick red shade, but I was also pretty sloppy with the application because I just wanted to do a really quick, like literal 5-minute gradient look. I'm not trying to paint a Monet here. For how much pickup you get in the pans though, it is really impressive to me how little of that translates to your actual face. Okay, and then for the topper shade A, I'm just going in with my finger, dabbing that down the center. Yeah, it pretty much just adds this layer of gold flecks. There's not really much, it doesn't really add anything in terms of the color, but you know, it ups the bling factor a little bit, so I'm not mad at it. Okay, and then just for cohesiveness sake, dab this along the lower center, the lower eyelid center portion. I'm going to finish up the eyes with eyeliner, eyelashes, and mascara off camera, and I'll be back to do my cheeks and lips. Okay, so I'm back and we're ready to go in with the Chifure Powder Cheeks in 571. I said earlier that I was not a big fan of Chifure's really simplistic, cheap looking packaging. I'm sorry, but a lot of it just looks like 100 yen grade makeup to me, even though they do have some decent products. But I do like the packaging on this blush in particular. I appreciate that they tried to put forth a little bit of effort here with the I don't know if you can tell, but it's kind of a gray tinted plastic with this rose lace design here. Good job, Chifure. E for effort. And here's what the blush looks like. Wow, that is really tiny.
That's what she said.
This is 2.5 grams of product. Hold on, I actually want to compare this with a Can Make blush. I wasn't expecting the pan to be this tiny. So here's a powder cheek blush by Can Make. This one has... Damn it, it doesn't say. Can Make never writes like any of the important information on their labels. It drives me crazy, but you can clearly see that this pan is larger than the Chifure. This one retails for 550 yen plus tax, and this one was 500 yen. It seems like you're getting a better deal with the Chifure, but upon closer inspection, you do get more product with the Can Make. Of course, at the end of the day, it all comes down to how well the product performs. So let's swatch. That is very powdery, as the name suggests. Okay, so it has small flecks of glitter throughout, but it's pretty much, the main formula is pretty much just a matte blush, I would say. Wow. That picked up on the brush quite well. Here, let me tap this off a little bit, because I'm always like the least careful with blush application. I don't know why. And before you know it, I'm looking like a clown. Yeah, so that's a very pigmented blush. You only need the tiniest bit. See, I still think that's too much, even though I got rid of like half of the powder that was picked up on the brush earlier. That's a lot of blush. But it's okay, because the whole point is for you guys to be able to see the product clearly. Am I right? Haha. Yeah, no, this is a very good standard blush formula, I think. I am not a fan of the random chunky silver glitters dispersed throughout. I don't think that they really serve any purpose aside from making it look a little bit more sparkly in the pan. Because when you apply it on your cheeks, it's just like this matte flushed blush color with a bunch of random sparkles throughout. To me, that just looks like fallout from your sparkly eyeshadow or something, you know? Even though it's in the blush. Like, it's not adding anything significant to the look. That's not a deal breaker or anything, just a very minor complaint. But yeah, let's move on to the lipstick. So, here is the Revlon X Wonder Woman lustrous lipstick in Amazon. I have to make a tiny gripe about the packaging. I just don't really like red, black, and gold. I don't like those three colors together. It looks really cheap to me. I wish they would have stuck with the classic red and blue, or red and navy, I think is what her original costume looked like. Maybe I'm just picky. I feel like I'm always harping on some minor design detail that probably no one else even notices or cares about, but that's just my 2 cents, okay? I'm allowed to have my opinion. So here's what the lipstick looks like. Ooh, why is that looking almost reddish on screen? It is definitely more browny mauve in person. But anyway, let's swatch it. There we go. Yeah, I usually do enjoy the collaboration lipsticks that Revlon puts out, especially if it's in a matte formula. I don't think this is a pure classic matte. There is definitely like some moisture and shine to it, but it's on the matte side. I really like it though. I like getting the best of both worlds. So this is like very creamy and moisturizing, but you still kind of get the matte effect. Even though it's not completely dry and velvety looking the way that you would get with a matte liquid lipstick or something, it still has that nice sophisticated dulled down effect. You know, the light is not bouncing off of it crazily, but at the same time it's like, yeah, it's moisturizing, and I feel like my lips are still able to breathe underneath, and it's very flexible. So this is right up my alley actually. I'm really glad I picked this up. I hope to get a lot of use out of it during this winter. Well, in the rare occasion that I don't have to wear a mask. So that's my finished look, everyone. What do you think? I really like the way this came out. The lipstick is definitely the statement of this entire look. Yeah, without a dark maroon lip like this, it would just be super basic and brown and boring, which is totally fine. Nothing wrong with that, but it is a very like back to basics look for me. As far as the Cezanne Nuance On eyeshadow palette, I wasn't blown away or anything, but I do want to say that I was pretty pleasantly surprised. Like, I think compared to some of Cezanne's other eyeshadow palettes that I've tried in the past, this is probably the one that I've reacted to the most favorably. And I think it also has to do with this color palette in particular. I feel like it just suits my skin tone very well. It's kind of like a nice balance between warm and cool tones, which is very much what I enjoy. I will say that I tend to use a very heavy hand, especially when it comes to these sheared out, you know, less pigmented Japanese eyeshadow formulas. And then keep in mind, this is on top of ABH eyeshadow primer, which is a very good primer on the market, and it really helps bring out the vibrancy in your eyeshadows. So taking those two things into account, I think it's safe to say that this is probably the most intense that you would ever be able to build up these colors in this palette. So if this or something even more subtle is the type of look that you're going for, maybe for just your daily look or when you go to the office or something, I would say to maybe go check this out and see if you're interested or if the colors appeal to you in person. This was only 700 something yen after tax. So definitely if you're just looking for a nice neutral everyday palette that's not going to break the bank, this could be a good option for you. But if you want anything a step more dramatic or intense than what I have on my eyes right now, this palette is probably not gonna give that to you. In fact, there are actually a couple of 100 yen eyeshadow palettes out there that pack more of a punch in terms of pigmentation and intensity than the Cezanne Nuance On eyeshadow palette. Not Your Glam, but other 100 yen makeup brands such as AC Makeup Tokyo. So this is the AC 8 color eye palette in number 1, chocolate brown. This is an excellent neutral palette, if I may say so myself, especially if you're looking for something that has a little bit more pigment, a little more glitz and glimmer than the Cezanne one that I tried out today. I highly suggest that you go and try to find one of these in the 100 yen shop. Okay, so that's all for today. Thank you for joining me as usual, and I will see you in my next video. Bye! Merry Christmas!